I stared at my computer screen, pretending to review the quarterly marketing report while my mind was anywhere but here. 3 desks away, Park Seojun sat with perfect posture, his fingers flying across his keyboard as he worked on some design project. Even from here, I could see the sharp line of his jaw, the way his dark hair fell slightly into his eyes when he concentrated. I forced myself to look away. This was dangerous. Wrong. Because I already had someone. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a message notification I'd been waiting for all morning. I glanced around the office before carefully checking it under my desk. MoonLight, good morning, Stargazer. Did you sleep well? I dreamed about you again. My heart did that stupid flutter it always did when he messaged me. For 3 years now, MoonLight had been my everything. We met in an online art community where I posted my amateur photography and he shared his incredible digital illustrations. A comment here, a private message there, and suddenly we were talking every single day. Then came the video calls, always with cameras off, voices only. We'd agreed early on to keep some mystery, to fall in love with each other's souls before our faces. It felt romantic at the time. Now it felt like both a blessing and a curse. Stargazer, I always sleep well after talking to you. How's your morning going? MoonLight, busy. Big project announcement today at work. I'm nervous. I frowned. MoonLight had mentioned his job before. Some creative position at a large company in Seoul. Over the years I'd picked up small details. A building with 15 floors. A cafeteria that served the best kimchi jjigae on Thursdays. A broken coffee machine on the 3rd floor that nobody bothered to fix. Details that matched my company. JK Corporation. I'd convinced myself it was just coincidence. Seoul was full of large companies with similar setups. But sometimes late at night I let myself wonder. What if MoonLight worked here? What if I passed him in the hallways every day without knowing? What if he was? No. I couldn't let myself finish that thought. Morning team meeting in 5 minutes. My supervisor's voice cut through the office chatter. I quickly typed a response. I'm sure you'll do great. Message me after? I have a meeting too. MoonLight, always. I love you, Stargazer. Stargazer, I love you too. I slipped my phone away and gathered my laptop, trying to ignore how Park Seojun rose from his desk at the same time, adjusting his perfectly pressed shirt. We'd worked at JK Corporation for 2 years together, and I could count our direct interactions on one hand. He was cold, professional, intimidatingly talented. Everything I wasn't. And yet, recently I caught myself watching him. Noticing things. The way he tapped his pen 3 times before writing. How he always ordered iced Americano from the cafe, no sugar. That unconscious humming when he was deep in concentration. Things that felt familiar in a way I couldn't explain. The meeting room filled quickly. I took my usual seat near the back and my stomach dropped when Park Seojun sat 2 chairs away. Close enough that I could smell his subtle cologne, cedar and something crisp like winter morning. Our department head, Director Kim, launched into her presentation about Q4 goals. I tried to focus, I really did, but my mind kept drifting between the phone in my pocket and the man sitting near me. Now, for our most important project this quarter, Director Kim announced, and something in her tone made me sit up straighter. We're pitching a major campaign to the Hanseong Group. It's a collaborative effort between marketing and design. My pulse quickened. Hanseong was huge. Landing them as a client would be career-defining. Kang Jihoon, Director Kim looked directly at me and I felt everyone's eyes follow. You'll be leading the marketing strategy. Pride and panic warred in my chest. Thank you, Director Kim. I won't let you down. I know you won't. And you'll be working directly with our senior designer on this. She turned, and I already knew what she was going to say before the words left her mouth. Park Seojun will handle all creative and visual elements. The room felt too small suddenly. Too warm. Park Seojun turned to look at me for the first time in months and our eyes met. Those dark, unreadable eyes that I'd been trying so hard not to notice. For just a split second, so brief I might have imagined it, something flickered across his face. Surprise? Recognition? Then it was gone, replaced by his usual professional mask. I look forward to working with you, Jihoon and Seojun, he said quietly, and hearing my name in his deep voice did something strange to my chest. Me too, I managed. The meeting continued, but I didn't hear another word. My mind was racing, trying to calculate what this meant. Weeks of working closely with Park Seojun. Just the 2 of us. How was I supposed to concentrate on work when lately I couldn't even look at him without feeling guilty? Guilty because of MoonLight. Because even though we'd never met in person, what we had was real. What we had was love. And I couldn't betray that by developing feelings for someone else. Even if that someone made my heart race just by sitting near me. The meeting ended and I escaped to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. I needed to get it together. This was just a work project. Park Seojun was just a colleague, a cold, distant colleague who probably didn't even remember my name before today. That evening, after returning home to my small apartment, I collapsed onto my bed and reached for my phone. MoonLight had already messaged. "MoonLight, my meeting happened. Something interesting occurred today. Stargazer, good interesting or bad interesting? MoonLight, I'm not sure yet. I think fate might be playing games with me." I stared at those words, something cold trickling down my spine. "Stargazer, what do you mean?" The three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. "MoonLight, I'll tell you soon. I promise. How was your day?" I hesitated, then decided honesty was best. "I got assigned to a big project. With someone I'll have to work very closely with." "MoonLight, that's wonderful. You'll do amazing." "Stargazer, I hope so. I'm nervous." "MoonLight, don't be. You're incredible, Stargazer. Even if you don't see it yet." I smiled at my phone, guilt gnawing at me. Here was MoonLight, being supportive and loving, while I couldn't stop thinking about Park Seojun's eyes. What was wrong with me? "Stargazer, when are we finally going to meet?" "It's been 3 years." The dots appeared and disappeared for a long moment. "MoonLight, soon. Very soon. I think the universe is trying to tell us something. Trust me?" "Stargazer, always." I set my phone down and stared at my ceiling, trapped between two impossible feelings for two different people. If only I knew they were the same person. If only I knew that Park Seojun had been loving me from behind a screen for 3 years, too afraid to reveal himself, terrified that the quiet marketing employee who barely looked at him at work could never love the real him. But I didn't know that yet. Not yet. Monday morning arrived too quickly. I stood outside the project room on the 7th floor, clutching my laptop like a shield. Through the glass door, I could see Park Seojun already inside, setting up his equipment. He'd arrived early. Of course he had. Park Seojun probably never showed up late to anything in his perfectly organized life. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. He looked up immediately and something about his expression seemed different today. Softer maybe? Or was I just imagining things? "Good morning, Jihoon, he said, gesturing to the chair beside him. "I thought we could start by aligning our vision for the campaign." "That sounds good." I settled into the chair, hyper-aware of how close we were sitting. Close enough to notice the faint scent of his cologne again, that same cedar and winter morning combination that had distracted me during the meeting. The first hour was professional, efficient. We discussed target demographics, brand positioning, visual themes. Seojun's ideas were brilliant, I'd expected nothing less, and surprisingly he listened to my suggestions with genuine interest. Not the polite, dismissive attention I'd feared, but real engagement. What if we contrasted traditional elements with modern design? I proposed, sketching a rough concept on my notepad. Hanseong Group values their heritage, but they're trying to appeal to younger consumers. Seojun leaned closer to look at my sketch and my breath caught. "That's perfect," he murmured. Exactly what I was thinking but couldn't articulate. Our eyes met for a moment too long and I quickly looked away, heat rising to my cheeks. "Focus, Jihoon. Focus on work. Focus on MoonLight." "MoonLight? Right. My actual boyfriend who I loved. Not my attractive coworker who happened to smell amazing and have incredible creative instincts." Over the next few days, working with Park Seojun became simultaneously easier and harder. Easier because we fell into a natural rhythm, our ideas complementing each other perfectly. Harder because the more time I spent with him, the more the walls around him seemed to crack. On Tuesday, I noticed he tapped his pen exactly 3 times before sketching a new concept. Just like MoonLight drummed his fingers 3 times before starting a new illustration. At least, that's what he'd told me during one of our voice calls. Coincidence? It had to be. Wednesday we worked through lunch. Seojun ordered 2 iced Americanos without asking what I wanted. "You remembered?" I said, surprised. He paused, a flicker of something crossing his face. "You always get that from the cafe. No sugar. You noticed?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. His ears turned slightly pink. Pay attention. Thursday afternoon we hit a creative block. Seojun leaned back in his chair, frustrated, and started humming unconsciously, a soft, melodic sound that made my heart stop. I knew that tune. MoonLight hummed it during our calls when he was thinking. My hands started shaking. I gripped my pen tighter, trying to steady myself. "Jihoon, are you alright?" Seojun's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. You've been staring at that same slide for 10 minutes. Sorry, I just got distracted. His eyes lingered on me, concern evident in their dark depths. You work too hard. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Those exact words. MoonLight had said those exact words to me last night. The room felt like it was spinning. I need some air, I mumbled, practically fleeing to the hallway. In the bathroom, I splashed cold water on my face and stared at my reflection. This was insane. I was losing my mind, seeing connections that didn't exist. Seoul had millions of people. Lots of them probably tapped pens 3 times. Lots of them hummed when they thought. Lots of them. My phone buzzed. MoonLight, are you okay? You seem distracted today. I nearly dropped the phone. How could he possibly know that? Stargazer, I'm fine. Just tired from work. MoonLight, the big project? Stargazer, yeah. My partner is complicated. MoonLight, complicated how? I hesitated, fingers hovering over the keyboard. How could I explain that working with Park Seojun made me feel guilty? That I couldn't stop noticing similarities between them? That I was terrified I was developing feelings for someone who wasn't MoonLight? Stargazer, just different than I expected. In a good way, I think. The response took longer than usual. MoonLight, I'm glad you're working with someone good. You deserve that. The guilt intensified, sharp and painful in my chest. That evening, I met my best friend Miho at our usual pojangmaka. He took one look at my face and ordered 2 bottles of soju. Spill, he demanded. Everything came pouring out. Well, almost everything. I told him about MoonLight, about our 3-year relationship, about the clues that suggested he worked at JK Corporation. I told him about Park Seojun, about the project, about the strange similarities I kept noticing. What I didn't tell him was the terrifying thought that had been growing in my mind all week. Jihoon, Miho said carefully, pouring us both another shot. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I think. I downed the soju in one gulp. I think Park Seojun might be MoonLight. Miho nearly choked on his drink. The Ice Prince? Park Seojun who barely talks to anyone? That's your theory? I know it sounds crazy. It sounds completely insane, Miho interrupted. Jihoon, you're stressed and overworked. You're seeing patterns that aren't there. But what if they are there? What if? Then ask MoonLight where he works. Ask Park Seojun if he uses online art forums. Get actual answers instead of driving yourself crazy with speculation. He was right. Of course he was right. But I was terrified of the answer. Friday morning, I arrived at the project room determined to focus solely on work. No more analyzing Seojun's every movement. No more comparing him to MoonLight. Just work. Seojun walked in 5 minutes later, looking unusually tired. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his usually perfect hair was slightly disheveled. Rough night? I asked before I could stop myself. He managed a small smile, the first real smile I'd ever seen from him, and it transformed his entire face. You could say that. Couldn't stop thinking about things. The project. Among other things. His eyes met mine, and there was something vulnerable in them, something I'd never seen before. Jihoon, can we talk? Not about work. My heart hammered against my ribs. Of course. He opened his mouth, clearly struggling with what to say when, Morning, boys? Yuna burst through the door, carrying a tray of coffee and her usual megawatt smile. Thought you could use some caffeine. Oh, and did you hear? The CEO is doing surprise project evaluations today. The moment shattered like dropped glass. Seojun's expression closed off immediately, all vulnerability disappearing behind his professional mask. We should focus on the presentation, he said stiffly. Make sure everything's perfect for evaluation. Right? I agreed hollowly. Of course. Yuna chattered away about office gossip while I sat there, mourning whatever Seojun had been about to say. The weekend felt endless. I barely left my apartment, anxiety eating away at me. My conversations with MoonLight grew more intense, charged with something unspoken. MoonLight, I saw you today. My breath caught. Stargazer, what? Where? MoonLight, at the place where we both pretend to be people we're not. My hands trembled so badly I could barely type. Stargazer, MoonLight, please. Just tell me who you are. MoonLight, I'm terrified, Stargazer. What if you don't like the real me? Stargazer, that's impossible. I love you. MoonLight, you love MoonLight. But what if the person behind the screen isn't who you imagine? What if I'm someone you already know, and don't like? Tears blurred my vision. Stargazer, I could never dislike you. You're everything to me. MoonLight, even if I've been watching you from afar? Even if I've been too much of a coward to tell you the truth? Stargazer, especially then. Moonlight, please. Where are you? The typing indicator appeared and disappeared several times. Finally. Moonlight, Friday night. After your presentation. Meet me at Banpo Bridge 8 p.m. I'll finally show you everything. No more hiding. No more cameras off. Just us, finally real. I stared at the message, emotions warring inside me. Relief, terror, hope, dread. 1 week. I had 1 week until everything changed. Stargazer, I'll be there. I promise. Moonlight, thank you for loving me even without seeing my face. Thank you for 3 years of patience. I don't deserve you. Stargazer, you deserve everything. I set my phone down and stared at the ceiling of my apartment. 1 week until I met Moonlight. 1 week until our relationship became real. So why did my mind keep drifting back to Park Seojun's almost confession? To the vulnerability in his eyes? To the way my name sounded in his voice? Monday would bring answers. Or at least more questions. I wasn't sure which possibility terrified me more. Monday morning, I arrived at the office 30 minutes early, unable to sleep anyway. My mind had been racing all weekend, cycling between excitement about meeting Moonlight on Friday and anxiety about whatever Park Seojun had wanted to tell me. The building was still mostly empty, the hallways quiet except for the hum of fluorescent lights. I headed straight for our project room, hoping to get some work done before. I stopped in the doorway. Park Seojun was already there, slumped in his chair, staring blankly at his laptop screen. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. His usually immaculate appearance was disheveled, wrinkled shirt, tie loosened, hair falling into his eyes. Seojun SSI? I said softly. He jerked upright, startled, and when he turned to face me, I saw dark circles under his eyes and something raw in his expression. Vulnerable. Almost desperate. Jihoon, he said quietly, and the way he dropped the formal suffix made my heart skip. You're early. So are you. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. Are you okay? You look like I haven't slept in 3 days? A bitter smile crossed his lips. That's accurate. I set my laptop down and moved closer, concern overriding my usual nervousness around him. What's wrong? Is it the project? No. Yes. I don't know. He ran a hand through his hair, making it even more disheveled. Jihoon, can we talk? Not about work. About something else. Something important. My mouth went dry. This was it, the conversation Yuna had interrupted last Friday. Of course. He stood up and I realized his hands were shaking. Park Seojun, always so composed and controlled, was trembling. I need to tell you something, he began, his voice barely above a whisper. Something I should have said a long time ago. I've been. The door burst open. Good morning. Yuna sang out, balancing a tray of coffee cups. Thought you two could use some fuel. Big week ahead. CEO evaluations, final presentations, all very exciting. She paused, finally reading the room. Oh, am I interrupting something? No, Seojun said immediately, his walls slamming back into place so fast I almost heard them. His expression went blank, professional. The vulnerable man from seconds ago disappeared. We were just discussing the project timeline. Oh good. Well, I brought Americanos. Iced, no sugar, just how you both like them. She set the cups down, oblivious to the tension. Anyway, I have to run, but I heard the CEO will be visiting our floor today for preliminary evaluations. Make sure everything looks perfect. She breezed out as quickly as she'd entered, leaving a painful silence in her wake. Seojun, I started. We should focus on the presentation. He cut me off, already turning back to his laptop. The CEO evaluation is important. But you were saying? It can wait. His voice was cold again, distant. The Ice Prince returning to his throne. We have work to do. I wanted to push, to demand he finish what he'd started, but something in his rigid posture stopped me. Instead, I sat down and opened my laptop, frustration burning in my chest. What had he been about to say? The rest of Monday passed in professional efficiency and personal agony. We worked well together. Our campaign was shaping up to be brilliant, but the easy rapport we developed over the past week had vanished. Seojun was back to being cordial but distant, and every time I tried to bring up anything personal, he redirected to work. By Tuesday I was ready to scream. That night, Moonlight messaged me earlier than usual. Moonlight, I almost told you today. I was so close. My heart stopped. Stargazer, told me what? Are you okay? Moonlight, who I am. Where you know me from. But I lost my courage. Stargazer, Moonlight, you can tell me anything. You know that. Moonlight, do I? What if knowing changes everything between us? Stargazer, it won't. I promise. Moonlight, you can't promise that. You don't know who I am. I stared at my phone, frustration from the day boiling over. Stargazer, then tell me. Right now. Just tell me. The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. Moonlight, Friday. I swear, Friday at Banpo Bridge. I'll tell you everything. Face to face, no more hiding. Can you wait 4 more days? Stargazer, I've waited 3 years. What's 4 more days? But the truth was, I didn't know if I could wait. Not when Park Seojun looked at me with those haunted eyes. Not when Moonlight's words echoed Seojun's behavior so perfectly. Wednesday brought another near miss. We were working late, alone in the office. Most people had gone home and the building was quiet. Seojun had been unusually quiet all day, stealing glances at me when he thought I wasn't looking. Jihoon, he said suddenly, breaking hours of silence. Do you believe in fate? I looked up from my laptop, surprised. I'm not sure. Why? Because sometimes I think the universe has a cruel sense of humor. He was staring at his design sketches, but I could tell he wasn't really seeing them. Putting people in the same place but keeping them apart. Making you love someone from a distance while they're right in front of you. My breath caught. Seojun, what are you? His phone rang, shattering the moment. He glanced at the screen and stood abruptly. I need to take this. We should call it a night anyway. He grabbed his things and left before I could respond, leaving me alone with a racing heart and more questions than answers. Thursday afternoon, I overheard something that made my world tilt. I was in the break room making coffee when Yuna and another colleague walked in, deep in conversation. Did you see Seojun today? Yuna was saying. He's been glued to his phone, smiling at messages. I've never seen him smile at work before. Really? The Ice Prince? Her friend replied. Maybe he has a girlfriend. Must be serious if she can make him smile like that. Such a waste. I had my eye on him. They grabbed their drinks and left, not noticing me frozen by the coffee machine. Seojun had someone. Someone who made him smile at his phone. Just like I smiled at my phone when Moonlight messaged me. Just like, oh. No, I couldn't let myself go down that path again. Miho was right. I was seeing patterns that didn't exist, making connections out of coincidences. Lots of people smiled at their phones. Lots of people. My phone buzzed. Moonlight, tomorrow, Stargazer. Tomorrow you'll understand everything. Stargazer, I'm scared. Moonlight, me too. But I'm more scared of losing you. Of spending another day loving you from the shadows while you're right there, so close I could touch you. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. Stargazer, Moonlight, are you, do we? Moonlight, tomorrow. 8 p.m. Banpo Bridge. Trust me, please. Trust us. Stargazer, I trust you. I love you. Moonlight, I love you too. So much more than you know. I returned to the project room in a daze. Seojun was back, focused on his laptop, and I caught him quickly closing something on his screen as I entered. His phone was face down on the table and his expression was unreadable. Everything okay? He asked. Yeah. Fine. I sat down trying to steady my breathing. Tomorrow's the big day. The presentation. And other things, he murmured so quietly I almost missed it. What? Nothing. Just, tomorrow will change everything. He looked at me, then really looked at me, and his eyes were full of something I couldn't name. Fear. Oh. Longing? Are you ready for that? I don't know, I admitted honestly. Are you? I've been ready for 3 years. He said it like a confession, like the words had been locked inside him forever and finally broke free. I just hope. I hope you'll understand. When you know the truth. Seojun, what are you talking about? He opened his mouth to respond when, of course, Director Kim walked in with the CEO, ready for our preliminary evaluation. The rest of the afternoon was a blur of presentations and feedback. The CEO loved our work, praised our collaboration, approved everything for the final presentation tomorrow. It should have been a triumph. But all I could think about was the haunted look in Seojun's eyes. The strange things Moonlight kept saying. The impossible possibility that was taking root in my mind, growing stronger despite my efforts to kill it. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at my ceiling, my conversation with Moonlight replaying in my head. Loving you from the shadows while you're right there, so close I could touch you. Park Seojun worked 3 desks away from me. Tomorrow will change everything. Tomorrow was Friday. The presentation. And my meeting with Moonlight. I hope you'll understand when you know the truth. The same hope, phrased almost identically from two different people. My phone lit up with one final message. Moonlight, I can't sleep. Are you awake? Stargazer, yeah. Too nervous. Moonlight, me too. Jihoon, can I call you that? Your real name? I've wanted to say it for so long. My heart stopped. I'd never told Moonlight my name. Never once in 3 years. Stargazer, how do you know my name? The typing indicator appeared and disappeared. Appeared and disappeared. Moonlight, tomorrow. Everything tomorrow. I promise. Good night, Kang Jihoon. Sleep well. I stared at the message until my vision blurred, my entire world narrowing to one impossible truth. Park Seojun was Moonlight. Moonlight was Park Seojun. The man I'd loved for 3 years and the man I was falling for at work were the same person. And tomorrow, after the presentation, I would finally meet him. Finally, everything would make sense. Or fall completely apart. I didn't know which possibility terrified me more. Friday morning felt surreal, like I was moving through a dream. I got ready for work on autopilot, shower, coffee, the same navy suit I always wore for important presentations. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking. In 12 hours, everything would change. In 12 hours, I would meet Moonlight at Banpo Bridge. In 12 hours, I would confirm what my heart already knew, that Park Seojun and Moonlight were the same person. The thought should have filled me with joy. Instead, terror gripped me. What if I was wrong? What if I'd built this entire theory on coincidences and wishful thinking? What if Moonlight was someone else entirely, and I'd been developing feelings for Park Seojun while in a relationship? Or worse, what if I was right and Seojun had been hiding from me for 3 years because he didn't think I could love the real him? My phone buzzed. Moonlight, good morning. Big day. Are you ready? Stargazer, as ready as I'll ever be. You. Moonlight, I'll tell you tonight. 8 p.m. Don't forget. Stargazer, I could never forget. The presentation was scheduled for 2 p.m. I arrived at the office an hour early only to find, of course, that Park Seojun was already in the project room. He looked up when I entered and my breath caught. He'd barely slept either, I could see it in his eyes. But there was something different about him today. A resolve maybe. Or resignation. Morning, he said softly, dropping the formal suffix again. Just Jihoon, like we were friends. Like we were something more. Morning. I set down my laptop, hyper-aware of every movement, every breath. Are you ready? For the presentation? Yes. He paused, his fingers drumming against the table. 3 times, always 3 times. For everything else? I don't know. Everything else? He looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw fear and hope warring in his expression. There's something I need to tell you. After the presentation. Something I should have told you a long time ago. My heart hammered against my ribs. Okay. You might hate me, he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. You might think I've been lying to you. Playing games. But I swear, Jihoon, everything I've felt has been real. Every word, every moment. All of it real. Seojun, Let's focus on the presentation first, he interrupted, his professional mask sliding back into place, though it fit less perfectly now. We can talk after. When everything's done. The morning crawled by. We did final run-throughs, adjusted slides, practiced our delivery. We worked perfectly together, our ideas flowing seamlessly, finishing each other's sentences. Anyone watching would have thought we'd been partners for years, not weeks. They only knew. At 1:30 p.m., Miho texted me, good luck on the presentation. And Jihoon, be ready for anything tonight. I have a feeling your life is about to change. I typed back, I think it already has. The presentation room filled quickly, Director Kim, the CEO, several board members, stakeholders from the Hanseong Group. High stakes. Career defining. But all I could focus on was Park Seojun standing beside me, his shoulder almost touching mine. Ready? He murmured. Together, I replied. We began. The next hour was a blur of slides and speaking points, of Seojun's brilliant designs and my marketing strategy. We moved like dancers, perfectly synchronized, each of us elevating the other's work. When I faltered on a statistic, Seojun smoothly covered. When his design explanation got too technical, I translated it for the executives. We were magic together. The Hanseong representatives leaned forward, engaged. The CEO smiled. Director Kim looked proud. When we finished, the room erupted in applause. Outstanding work, the CEO declared. Hanseong, I believe we have our team. Park Seojun, Kang Jihoon, congratulations. You've just landed the biggest client of the year. The room celebrated around us, but I only saw Seojun. He was looking at me with such intensity, such naked emotion, that I forgot how to breathe. "We did it," I whispered. "Yeah," he breathed. "We did." The celebration lasted until 6 p.m., champagne, congratulations, promises of bonuses and promotions. Yuna hugged us both. Miho sent a string of congratulatory emojis. Director Kim announced we'd be the lead team for the Hanseong account going forward. Everything I'd worked for was finally happening. But I couldn't focus on any of it. Because at 8 p.m., everything would either come together or fall apart. By 7 p.m., the office had emptied. Just Seojun and me, packing up our materials in the project room that had become our shared space over the past 2 weeks. "Jihoon," Seojun said suddenly. "Do you have plans tonight?" My hand stilled on my laptop. Yes. I'm meeting someone." Something flickered across his face. Someone important?" "Very important." I turned to face him fully. "Someone I've been waiting 3 years to meet." He went pale. 3 years. 3 years, I confirmed, my heart pounding. "Seojun, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." "Okay," he whispered. "Do you use online art forums?" His eyes widened, but he didn't speak. "Do you have an account called MoonLight?" His laptop bag slipped from his hands and hit the floor. "Jihoon, is it you?" My voice cracked. "Have you been MoonLight this entire time? Have you been loving me online while avoiding me at work? Because if you have, I need to know. I need to know if I've been in love with the same person twice." Tears were streaming down his face now. "I wanted to tell you. So many times. But I was terrified. You barely looked at me at work, Jihoon. You seemed uncomfortable around me. I thought you only loved MoonLight, the fantasy. Not Park Seojun, the reality." "You idiot," I choked out, moving closer. "I avoided you because I thought I was betraying MoonLight. Because I was falling for my coworker while I had a boyfriend. Because I thought I was the worst person in the world for having feelings for both of you. Both of us," he laughed through his tears. "We're the same person. We've always been the same person." "I know. I figured it out. All the little things, the pen tapping, the humming, the way you take your coffee. The timing of your messages. The things you'd say." I was crying too now. "How did you know my name?" "I never told MoonLight my name." "I've known since the beginning," he admitted. "Your username, Stargazer. You used the same name for your company email before IT made you change it. I recognized it the first time you posted in the forum. And I fell in love with your photography, with your comments, with the way you saw the world. And then I fell in love with you. Why didn't you tell me? Because at work, you were this bright, creative person who barely acknowledged my existence. I thought if you knew the cold, distant Park Seojun was MoonLight, you'd be disappointed. That you'd realize the person you loved was just me and I'd lose you. Seojun," I closed the distance between us, reaching up to cup his face. "You're not just anything. You're everything. You're the person who encouraged my photography when I wanted to quit. Who talked me through my worst days. Who made me laugh and think and dream. You're the person who's been making my heart race at work for weeks because I couldn't stop noticing you, couldn't stop wanting to know you. You're both of them, MoonLight and Park Seojun, and I love both of you. I love all of you. Even though I hid from you? Even though I was a coward? Even though. Always." I smiled through my tears. "We're both idiots. Complete idiots who wasted weeks being afraid when we could have been together." He laughed, the sound broken and beautiful. "We still have our meeting at Banpo Bridge. 8 p.m. I checked my watch. 7:30 p.m. "Then we should go," I said. "Officially. Properly. Our first real meeting." "Our first real date," he corrected and pulled me into his arms. We held each other in that empty project room, 3 years of longing and fear and love finally finding home. At 7:45 p.m., we arrived at Banpo Bridge. The evening was cool, the bridge lights beginning their dance across the water. Couples walked hand in hand, and the city hummed with life around us. Seojun's hand was warm in mine. Real. Solid. Finally real. "I'm nervous," I admitted. "Me too." He squeezed my hand. "But I'm more nervous about what comes after. What do we tell people? How do we..." "Hey, there you are." We both turned to find Miho jogging toward us, phone in hand, grinning like a maniac. "Miho? What are you doing here? You think I'd miss this?" He laughed. "Jihoon's been losing his mind for weeks. I had to see how this turned out. And..." He looked between us at our joined hands. "I'm guessing it turned out pretty well? You followed me?" I asked incredulously. "Of course I did. I'm your best friend. It's my job. He turned to Seojun, suddenly serious. Park Seojun, right? You're MoonLight. Seojun nodded, looking uncertain. Good. Miho's expression softened. Take care of him. He's been in love with you for 3 years. Don't waste any more time. I won't, Seojun promised. Never again. Miho snapped a photo of us, surprised and laughing, before walking away with a wave. I'll give you two some privacy. But I want all the details tomorrow. Alone again, Seojun turned to me, pulling me closer. The bridge lights reflected in his eyes, making them sparkle. Kang Jihoon, he said formally, and I could hear the smile in his voice. Would you like to go on a date with me? Our first real one? We have 3 years to make up for, I replied, echoing his earlier words. Then let's start now. He kissed me then, soft and sweet and real, under the lights of Banpo Bridge. Behind us the city sparkled. Around us the world kept turning. But for us time stood still. When we finally pulled apart, breathless and smiling, I rested my forehead against his. I love you, MoonLight, I whispered. I love you, Stargazer, he replied. I love you, Park Seojun. I love you, Kang Jihoon. All of us finally whole. Finally together. We stayed on that bridge for hours, talking and laughing and kissing, making up for lost time. He told me about the first time he saw my photo in the office directory and realized his online boyfriend worked 3 desks away. I told him about the agony of developing feelings for him while trying to stay faithful to MoonLight. We laughed at our own stupidity, cried over the time we'd wasted, and held each other like we'd never let go. Because we wouldn't. Not anymore. 3 months later. Monday morning at JK Corporation started like any other. Except now, I arrived with Park Seojun, our fingers intertwined as we walked through the lobby together. The office had gotten used to us over the past few months. The initial shock when we announced we were dating. Since when? How did this happen? The Ice Prince has a boyfriend? Had faded into acceptance and support. Yuna still teased us mercilessly. Miho took credit for bringing us together, despite doing nothing of the sort. Director Kim just smiled knowingly, like she'd suspected all along. We kept our workspaces separate, 3 desks apart like always, but now I didn't avoid looking at him. Now, when our eyes met across the office, we smiled. Sometimes, during lunch, he'd pull me into an empty conference room just to kiss me, making up for years of restraint. Our apartment, we'd moved in together last month, was filled with my photography and his illustrations. Our online accounts remained active, but now we posted couple content. MoonLight and Stargazer finally meeting after 3 years with photos of us together, real and happy. The Hanseong campaign had been a massive success, leading to more high-profile projects. We were the office's golden team, the creative duo everyone wanted to work with. But more than that, we were happy. That evening, as we walked home hand in hand, Seojun pulled me to a stop. What's wrong? I asked. Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. He cupped my face, his thumbs brushing my cheeks. I just wanted to tell you something. What? Thank you. For what? For seeing me. For loving MoonLight before you knew who I was. For giving Park Seojun a chance even when you thought you were betraying someone else. For being patient with my cowardice. For being you. His eyes were bright with unshed tears. Thank you for 3 years of messages and 2 months of torture and 3 months of the best happiness I've ever known. I kissed him, soft and sweet, there on the sidewalk as people passed around us. Thank you for being brave enough to finally show me your face, I murmured against his lips. For being both the fantasy and the reality. For being everything I needed even when I didn't know I needed it. I love you, he said. I love you too, I replied. Both of you. All of you. Forever. We continued walking home, our hands clasped tight, our hearts finally at peace. Under the same sky that had kept us apart for so long, we were finally completely together. And it was perfect. 1 year later, Park Seojun proposed at Banpo Bridge, the place where we'd officially met. I said yes before he even finished the question. Miho cried. Yuna planned the entire wedding. And MoonLight and Stargazer lived happily ever after, loving each other in every version of their lives. Online and offline, at work and at home, in the shadows and in the light. Always together. Always whole.